So as you can tell in that one video I posted, it's kind of odd that what's happened in my life appears on the screen in Hollywood like their films are an AI generation. As their symbols imply, when they use AI and all their stars, what does that mean? I'm a robot? When people do that and they magically appear out of nowhere, does that mean, hey, I'm AI? Um, okay, so Dimebag was shot. You see, I get like the story, like it's like a book for me. I watch this world unfold in front of me, and I get forced. Like all my interactions are forced. Trust me, I don't want nothing to do with this place. Um, so I get forced like the whole storyline. I knew about this stuff, Donald Trump and the Nazis, like when I was a child, even though I would have been like, kill them all. Um, I get those people forced into my life. My friend just happens to become like the biggest fucking Nazi violent person I ever know, going around beating up gays and stuff. And so I learn about that because they also happen to make a really fucking unique album of music that baits me into it. And without a really, really good, unique album, wouldn't have been there. But anyways, I mean, this would take over 40 years for me to re-explain 10 years of it. It's just a little. This is all a little nothing. Okay, so I get force fed this information that douchebag Daryl gets shot. Right. There's no reason for that to be in my life. No one I know listens to them. No one I'm going to know listens to them. And, they made like one good thrash album. Ooh, well, let's talk about them every day, all day long, every second of the day, and buy everything they make and give them money, money, money. Ooh, I don't even have enough room for Pantera memorabilia in here with all the Britney Spears fucking dolls and albums I have and all the new kids on the block and all that good stuff. All the Elvis Presley. All the Elvis Presley. Okay, so I get force fed information that all ends up being relevant. Once 2020 hits, everything is shown. Like, it's designed that way, but I get prompted with the dialogue to my whole life to convince me I'm an intelligent person who likes learning and stuff like that. And also, drugs and abuse are involved in forcing me to convince myself I love learning. And without learning, we knew absolutely nothing, anyways, and probably have a really good life. And, you know, if only huffing paint worked for me, my brain could be in a great place. Anyway, so douchebag Daryl gets shot, right? And, I'm all like, okay, well, thanks for letting me know, Grandpa. And douchebag Daryl gets shot. One, two, three. About 3 city blocks away from where one of douchebag Daryl's friends, family members, tried to kill me and then took my life from me and tried to force me into some gay sex stuff. And then they broke my hand, and, my mom helped him with that. So taking my life away from me because a precious douchebag Daryl tried to kill me, and he slipped on a banana peel in the process, and off to hell he goes. So I get in trouble for that. The cops aren't always bad people. Can I say that? Am I allowed to say that? Erase that. I never said that. And then, so, fucking so the cops are all like, yeah, we got to take you in on this shit. And I'm like, really? I fucking reported it. Like, you think I'm. So it turns into this whole thing, which is set up in advance. I don't think these people are dying either. So get that out of your fucking head if you're over there whining like a baby. First of all, robots can't die because they're never going to be alive. And second of all, aliens have a whole bunch of tricks up their fucking sleeves, don't they? That's what this is about. It's the story of learning that Hollywood is stealing your ideas, producing it, and charging you trillions for it. As you can see, Matrix 4, somehow the first 30 minutes of that was the video I made before going to see it. And then when I was popping the pills while I'm watching it appear on the screen, to finally like get the fuck out of my head. And then what does Kiana do? Half a second after I do that. That's right. Now, this would be pretty predictable at this point in time because 2020, I made a plan for my life like I had every other decade before. Nothing ever happens when I make a plan. So we just don't do anything. And we sit here and everything unfolds on its own. The book turns the pages on its own. There's no participation required in this visual novel. So anyways, I learned at that point in time that someone thinks Hollywood stars are stealing their ideas and becoming ultra trillionaires off of stealing their ideas. And I mean, we have the parallel, and the parable in a million ways. Everyone in the world thinks Hollywood is sucking the life force out of humans. So it should be a given. You know, when people are like, is it NFL rigged? Well, you should ask people like that, do you have any evidence of anything that wasn't rigged in this world? And, you know, it's like people talking about their invisible pal, Santa Claus. It's a lot like that. You know, that's odd. Who told me about Santa Claus and those flying reindeers? Oh, douchebag Daryl. Ah, that's right, his family did. Okay, so there we go. We already know he's a liar. He's dead. He can't argue I didn't steal your shit, but we already know he's a liar. And his people are thieves, so... I mean, it's literally like looking at fucking Jeffrey Epstein. And he's got like 8 kids with him in his van, tied up and duct tape on their mouth. And he's like, we're going to Sunday school. And you're like, oh, well, going to Sunday schools. No. Okay, I mean, obviously, if you like Pantera, you're not with me anymore. Thank God. Fucking, you know, we had to change our entire fucking life to attempt to get that the fuck out of our ears and shit. Oh, fucking that and Elvis and... I mean, what are the 10... I mean, it's really weird for a living being. I have to sit here and hear the same words for over and over. It's like, so 40 years of time allows 7 sentences to be repeated for about 90 billion times. And to a robot, that's not a bad thing because they have no feelings and they aren't alive. And hell, I'm pretty sure some of these people are being invented like the movies are, you know. So we have in this story, I get forced, you know, we're just, I imagine in the real world, I'm just trapped there with like a book super glued to my head, and they probably got my arms tied down, my legs tied down, so I don't fucking kick their teeth in and shit. Yeah, it's probably like Total Recall. It's probably a lot. I'm pretty sure we're being shown what's going on here. And they show you that in the Matrix too, don't they? You're kidnapped by the aliens and you're drugged and you're forced into your sarcophagus for your entire existence and shit. And the only words and ideas on Earth are the things going on Earth. Humans, even me, you know, when I do writing, I don't make up anything. I didn't used to make up new things. When I was a kid, winning awards from the president and stuff, I was just like, oh, I seen that on a cartoon yesterday. Let's write this down and change the name. Dinosaur to Dino. It's new and fresh. Ooh, it's fresh. You know, I do that because I'm not trying. You know, not because I really gave a shit. But they're like, you know, it's like 8:30 a.m. and they're like, oh, we got a competition. Everyone in the world sending their stories to the president. for a reading competition, and they're going to select a couple kids to get the award. And I was like, oh shit, it's 8:30. Shit, we gotta do this story today. I didn't even know that. You guys said that last week. Oh shit, I must have been staring out the window as usual, so I didn't hear that. And then so it's like 8:30, and then 10 a.m. comes along, and they're like the story, and I'm like, oh, hold on, we gotta write a closing to this. Hold on. And and then I magically win the award. So I'm real good at plagiarism too, right? Because I was forced. I was forced to be writing. So it's just like, ooh, what can we think of? Ooh, Danger Mouse and dinosaurs and time travel. Well, wow, this is a banger. I'm sure the president's gonna throw this in the trash and be like, oh, what a retard. Oh no, turns out to be I won. And then the next year, I literally rewrote the story, changed a couple words, and won again. So, but I can make up new shit nowadays. But so everything's plagiarized here, right? So sometimes you have to let that off. Around the time Douchebag was shot, and I'm always going to refer to it this way because one of his people tried to kill me around that area and fuck with my life. And then his people tried to bring their brothers into my life to have sex with me and shit. And so we're never going to be able to go back. We have to have the death to erase the memory of Earth in order for Earth to convince me it's something other than what it is. Again, they spent a lot of time on that. You know how many of these people were sent in my life to try to convince me I was the problem and not them? People forcing their way into your life because they have to get around you. And then you're like, yeah, I don't like this. Good. I don't want to be here or around you. And they're like, no, I hope in love and joy. Or I'll kill you. I'll try to kill you again. They never said I'll try to kill you again. It's always like they're sure they're going to do it. And then they follow through with their attempt. And it's always weird. It's like, you guys are like on bots on a network, right? Like, did you get like the update? What happened last time? What the fuck? We're fucking when toasters fucking go wild. Fucking. So, anyway, so, I mean, that place he got shot at was shut down because that place started having evil fucking vibes and shit. There's just so many murders happening in that area involving me and stuff I had to hear. So at that point in time, anyways, I was being introduced to the idea that Hollywood is stealing their ideas from people. That makes sense. It's like, probably is, right? Big whoop. Okay, shut up about Hollywood. Why do we even know this fucking place exists without Daryl and friends coming to tell me how great it is? I personally wouldn't know. I'm not a huge fan. I personally think it's all been pretty shitty, except for like maybe Eddie Murphy and recently Marvel with computers have been. I mean, they've always been doing this with computers, haven't they? They finally released art that looks like something you could sell. It didn't look like Van Gogh paintings anymore. The Mona Lisa, like they had to upgrade that shit a little bit. Because this other stuff magically came out magically at the same time all the 2020 events that are forced in the dialogue unfold. And I get to be convinced that it's because of me. I'm asking for everything to be shown. So it magically starts getting shown. Just ignore all the other stuff. Just ignore all the events that led up to it and wouldn't be possible if it didn't. Just ignore the dialogue prompt. See, a dialogue prompt in a visual novel that you're immersed in feels a lot different than when I'm looking at this screen and it says, choose A or choose B. The dialogue prompts are a little bit different here. It sends you a thing that moves. This thing comes up and it's like, hey, did you hear about the virus and the plague? Did you hear about the plague? Another person's like, oh yeah, they're talking about releasing plagues. Oh yeah. Anyways, so, you can see how it gets confusing when it's not laid out in the same format and you're being drugged and you've had your memories, the last 50 trillion years of memories erased from your brain. So you think you're a baby again. Or no, you don't ever think you're a baby. You have people telling you're a baby and they're going to kill you if you don't believe them. And they're drugging you to make sure to try to get you to think like a baby so they can control you. So when Douchebag was shot, it was supposedly because he was stealing music. Now at that same point in time, right about, I played a riff on guitar, and then the next week I hear a Blink-182 song, and I'm like, damn, bro, that's my riff. But I'm just like, well, that's like just not even a 10-cent riff. Like I could make 100 riffs like that in 10 seconds. So I didn't think much of it. But everything comes together, especially 2020, everything that was being built up before now has the light shown on it. Like the missing piece to everything. Like, why do I have this stupid memory? Who cares what song Blink-182 makes, right? It's not even one of their songs I like. It wasn't even one of their good songs. The riff I made up wasn't even good. And I don't even know how many times this has happened. But, wow. Recently, wow. It's like, I am Hollywood. It's like, that's weird because I eat like beans every day. It's like I don't eat Hollywood, but I am Hollywood. And that's because of Hollywood. I eat beans, right? Hollywood manipulates the food prices and tries to force you to eat $20 lettuce because it's better for the environment. So not only is Hollywood stealing the music and your ideas, your life, like that's my life. That's not just what I'm shedding my blood to create. That is literally as the blood drains from my veins, they're recording the blood drain. And they're like, check this out, bro. We're rich now. Fuck off and die. Eat some lettuce. Yeah, and as you can see in 2020, a lot of people have the fuck off and die, go eat some lettuce mentality. It seems to be the computer's favorite here. I'm not sure how Earth could exist. Like, obviously, I get the feeling what we did is we have a perfect world, and then we're like, let's go have some fun. Let's, like Call of Duty. Like, why do you play Call of Duty? Because you don't want to go outside and shoot your fucking neighbor in the head. So you go play with Call of Duty, and you shoot your neighbor in the head in Call of Duty instead, right? And I get the idea that's why we've created paradise here. The sandbox, except for not a sandbox. It's not active. You guys, I'm not sure where the fuck you people are mentally. I know some people, they are space. They're just vast. Not everyone, but I mean, like I get shown like all the spectrums and everything. So I know some people, I'm confused, like, you walk? Is that like a I'm not even being, I try my best not to insult motherfuckers, but I can't help it if what I'm seeing, if what you are or do insults you, I'm sure it upsets Jeffrey Epstein for people to be like, oh, it's a child rapist. He's probably, no, you're evil. You know, him and Elon Musk passed laws to not be able to say anything about him and his people and their anything that comes from their genetic code, apparently. And I said, what was that thing I pulled up? Oh, man, that's crazy. I was just reading it, and it was like you could replace every word with their bloodline, their bloodline, their bloodline, their bloodline, their bloodline. But it was like the list. It was like, oh, your post has been removed for you cannot insult this, 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 and this, and it was all their people. Everything you can insult was like literally the genetic code I see because they forced their way into my life. So I've been forced to. The only thing I could do is study them, let them talk and walk and act, and then now I have a complete psychological profile on their people, on their entire fucking group. And later I purposely did that. Like 2020, I was purposely, like they were setting traps, and I was like, oh my God, this looks so fun. Let's go do it. This definitely isn't a trap. And I actually said, wow, this is a trap. Let's go do it and see if they try to kill me. So I did that a lot in 2020, and those were my last things because I was purposely gathering the data on their personalities, on whatever software is coding them. And so there we go. He gets shot for stealing music, as should be, if these people are stealing everything, you know. That's why you gotta ban hate speech, because there's people. There's some, they ain't people, I'll tell you that. I'm pretty sure they're bots, so it's really hard for me to say anything else. Pretty sure there's NPC here. And, I mean, motherfuckers appear out of nowhere. It's faster than them going to the clone factory and buying a clone sometimes. Sometimes the clone does take an hour or a few weeks to appear. But not always. Not always does it take an hour or a few weeks to appear. I was testing a lot 2021, so I think I narrowed it down to if it's out of the visuals, it hasn't been created yet. Like if I'm looking at your feet, your head hasn't been created yet. I was testing if it can like teleport motherfuckers across the map, and it wouldn't. It would just create a new clone, and so then that's why I started only working on requesting clones and not the originals, although one of the originals did appear after a new clone was created across the street. One of the originals happened to find me in the middle of nowhere over here in Somalia, and they're over there in Jeffrey Epstein's city, literally, Lex Wexner's city, pretty much right on the edge of it. And so I'm over, you know, like we're literally, like they make sure they're on the exact opposite side of the map from Somalia. They don't want Somalia coming over to Israel. But they gotta have them here to, you know, clean their toilets and shit like that. So they create, it's just like the slaves, the Irish have their own side of town too. And the blacks have, you know, the non-Somalians have, the foreigners are over here, the blacks, they shipped out east, they gentrified central and shipped them east. And then the Irish have the northwest. And then northeast is Epstein's people, the richest, you know. I imagine you go there and there's like flying cars and, you know, diamond encrusted stop signs. And it wasn't like that quite yet 20 years ago, but I assume they've gotten more money and stuff since then, probably. So we had those things happen. He got shot for that. And then I'm pretty sure that was my ref appearing. And then then you can see in that video that it's pretty close to evidence that I'm recording that video, and then it appears on the screen. And then so more recently, in the past year, I've really been noticing that Hollywood blockbusters that take years to make and cost $50 trillion, and everyone's working so hard. All these people you've never met who work so hard, spent their whole lives making those movies. And so you can see at that point in time, the last year, I can see that that's pretty obvious that they're stealing people's ideas and getting rich off of it. And what it comes down to is what you can sort out of this is they're robots. And most likely, they definitely have robots. They use all these spiritual and hokey dokey, hooky dooky terms to describe something that you're being told is something else. And how does a computer get possessed by the devil? Well, they send it a virus and it changes the software. And that's how Bill Gates possesses your Microsoft computer, because he sends it a virus. But Bill Gates wrote a book saying, those are invisible things that don't exist. There are invisible people everywhere. And invisible people is the one thing I've never seen. I've watched the sun move. I've watched the weather change. I've watched the city darken as my emotions got cold. And on a really hot day, a sunny day with no clouds in the sky. And never seen invisible people, though. I don't think the game has that ability. And I don't see dinosaurs. Don't take my word for that. Trust me, they got shit they're going to roll out here, most likely, to counter things I say, if anyone gets a hold of the knowledge. They always do. It's like I was talking to them about the time that they tried to kill me because they stopped me and forced me to talk to them about the government. As their people always do. They stop you and they force you to talk to them because they're robots. See, you have limited time. They live forever. There's clones of them already. You kill one and there's 3 of them still alive. They can easily just throw it into a new robot shell, can't they? That's the reality of what we're dealing with here. Anyway, so that dude stopped me, and he's forcing me to talk about this shit I don't want to hear anything about a country I don't want to hear anything about. People have tried to, he wants me to, work with people, he's like, hey, these people kidnapped you and tried to kill you several times. They're having problems. What do we do about it? I mean, the rudeness. I mean, this is either the slimiest species on the planet or they're robots with zero fucking morality. I think that probably might be the reason why we have rapists and shit, because we have robots denying things, and then for setup event, there's setup events too. So I think the whole thing the humans are trying to tell. If you ever notice, the humans around you are trying to tell you it's the book of life, and it's all in the book, and literally, we're in the book. Okay, visuals. Just because there's pictures in a book doesn't mean it's not a book. And they're telling you everything. You realize their AI is slopping every word together any way it can and reselling it. But the words I say, they've never slopped together. But if you throw it in a computer, all the words they've said, they would slop together the words I say. But they just don't for some reason. Why don't they throw the slop in their computer and then have it regurgitate? What if the world is AI slop? What if Hollywood is using AI to make their movies? And none of this stuff is, they make laws against speaking about them and their people and their clones and all that shit. And then they make laws forcing you to worship them and their clones as well. So you can see, like, just all the evidence is over here, and then over here we just got someone blowing down on the scale all day long. And so we got slopland here, stealing our ideas, stealing our life. And they're getting rich off it. I don't even really care. It's kind of cute when I look at a screen and then a movie appears and it's some more interesting shit I'm doing. It's kind of cute, but obviously the evidence over here, like they aren't even, you see what there's not even hot air weighing out the evidence that that's not the purpose. They won't even begin arguing. Well, the reason we're stealing all your ideas in your life and is because we're trying to produce nice art for you for free, and we thought you'd enjoy it. See, the hot air doesn't even exist in that case. It doesn't even exist. They don't even try to blow back against the mountains of evidence that every other word they say that they could use to provide some sort of evidence they're not doing it. Every other word there is there's no words there. There's not even hot air. And they haven't run out of hot air, have they? If you notice, robots don't stop working. The hot air can keep coming out. You can go to the robot factory and get a bunch more. And, if your heater breaks, you just get a new heater. So, yeah, that stuff, obviously, that video I posted, seems like pretty good evidence. I'm recording birds. I'm making a recording, doing the same thing. And the animals in the video do the same thing that they do in the movie, though. Anyway, so that I had suspected that might have to do with something else, but sometimes things are have more than one piece of information in them. But that event there, I think that was like foreshadowing. Okay, so we're in a visual novel, and then what happens is they're foreshadowing all the events. Pretty much everything everyone thinks thinks someone wrote in a time that didn't exist, probably, is called foreshadowing, right? They know it, like you know the outcome of what's going to happen when you have a bunch of people in the closet claiming they're great and the best people on the planet. Like, obviously, they think they knew what was going to happen thousands of years ago. Because it's just common sense. So they create controlled opposition to it. Obviously, just recently someone had an idea. So it wasn't too much controlled opposition until a science cult came around, where people start asking questions, and then you have the pedophile Albert Einstein leading that cult. And anyways, yeah, you have all that stuff. You have it's really hard from my eyes and ears to not say there's a reason why you don't hear a computer sound in this video, because the computer is off and it's going to remain off. We don't like computers if they're on Earth. That sucks, because we actually like calculators, and no, there's nothing there. Now the music is evil because they're stealing it. And it's mostly propaganda and lies and manipulation. You listen to a lot of that music and shit. It's like corn. Like they're trying to force that into my life, force people to say those words he's saying, because they want to be able to rape you. So they want you to say, "Oh, my daddy's raping me," like the corn guy does, and then their people come in and they rape you, and then they give you a Bible or a New Age pamphlet, and they say, "Well, it's your thoughts inventing us." Oh yeah, Scooby Dooby. So that's how it works. That's what's really going on. That's why it sounds like AI wish-washy slop, because it is. Because only in the mind of a computer can you. I mean, think about some of these fucking languages and shit. That's AI gibberish for real. Now dost go over there and take a dump in my mouth so I can taste thy flavor of chocolate. Thou doest forest nowest. But that's not even the word. Some of that shit's just like, I mean, once you give it one language, AI can generate 15 million different languages like that. So it's real simple to do. And of course, there are people, like, I use that for me, but yeah, I realize, like, all this shit works for me, even though they don't want it. They try to kill me. And what it does is it educates me that this was set up 9 months in advance. Dude probably didn't die to begin with because it wasn't alive. And there was a second blackout in the world, which doesn't mean anything because everyone else can be controlled the same way. So just because they didn't approach faster doesn't mean that was only a second. I accidentally spoke about that recently, how it's clear, like, oh, magically all the 7 Nazis are there to save me from their crackhead family who was trying to kill me. And it's like, it's magically and set up. And it definitely is set up, right? I mean, I showed you the video where they wrote I was telling you in advance that they're up to something, because it's the same people who get forced in my life in this story over and over in the same institutions and organizations. Blah, 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 blah. And so, listen to some of the lyrics, like they're using that to like program. Obviously, that's not being stolen from me. When John Davis is singing about his daddy, he's talking about his daddy raping you, and then you're going to be chanting those words over and over, which then gives them the free card to come rape you. Because then they're going to be like, ooh, I am Kebalkatu, and you prayed to Kebalkatu to get raped, and now you're raped. Just like they did with the setting people up to kill me thing, again, the same way they did in the past when I wasn't fucking trying to request to learn about them and their people's activities. They don't start pushing. See, once you outthink one of their thoughts, they've got a new AI slop. And that's where New Age comes in, and they want to fry you with LSD and mushrooms. And thankfully for me, I get more control on those shit. That's when the fucking city darkened, was when I was on that shit. And it's definitely not, I mean, you can feel it in everything when it went to a cold city from hot as fuck. Other people see the shit I do too. I make sure I pull them to the side and be like, is that shit really happening? And they're like, yeah. Fucking, I've had other people tell me it was happening without asking them to, pointing out, like, yeah, you notice the sky has changed. I had like a whole fucking store of people fucking acting all weird, and then the pale skins with the black hair and black eyes were ramming me with their fucking carts and shit because I think they wanted it to burn down, and me asking for rain put the fires on the West Coast out. Um, so, but everyone else, and I mean, do we have multiple computers operating them? Everyone else was acting all like happy and excited to see this stranger in the fucking store and shit. Fucking. But their people ran me with a cart 3 fucking times. I mean, ran me too, dude. Fucking ran me. I was like, what's gonna happen if I just pick up this cart and bop them on the head with it? Oh, you know what happens then? Well, in comes the judicial system. And they're like, you hollow hoaxed me. Oh my God, it's another hollow hoax. It's a holy hoax. The holy hoax is back. You know how that works. Maybe you don't. Maybe you haven't had the joy of learning how that works. But that's how it works. You get beaten and taught that you aren't allowed to fight. But doublespeak says you're in the land of the free. Doublespeak says a lot of things. Doublespeak is everything. Pretty much like, I mean, you really haven't been alive too long if you haven't figured out that doublespeak is everything. And I walk through life with like whatever someone's about to say, it's going to be the total opposite. So we listen to what they say and then we understand that it's, they're like, if someone comes up to you and ever says, I wasn't raping kids, that means they're raping kids, because no one has to say that, and no one's thinking about raping kids except for them, all right? So, like, you can see in instances like that, like, yeah, like, that's really happening and shit. And when someone comes up to you and they're trying to be your friend, and they're like, I used to rob and kill people, but not with you. Obviously, we don't have to bring up that topic. If someone's thinking about robbing and killing people while they're talking to you, red flags should be going off. And a lot of times it's like NPC telling me the dialogue of what they're about to do. It's so weird. It's like, why do you even tell me that, you dumbass? You get away with it. I wouldn't have any clue if you just didn't say it, dumbass. A lot of shit ends up like that too. Anyway, so a lot of the lyrics has that where they're trying to, like like Fun Palace and shit like that. They're telling you like we're demons here and we're laughing at you and we're insulting you and there ain't shit you're gonna do about it. And then the other side is worship them. And they're like, well, you better stop listening to our evil, satanic, heavy metal. And then, like John Davis of Korn does, he teaches you to say, Daddy raped me, Daddy raped me. And then he tells you to go meet Daddy where he rapes you and hang out with the people who legalize children raping people. The only people on the planet who have ever done that. Patterns, my friend. Patterns. So and another thing about that in specific, good thing we got onto this topic. We can get two things down at once. We can get a lot of the music. It's trying to brainwash you, and then they're alien robots, so they're going to come. I'm pretty sure in this story here they're aliens. They think they're living beings. And they're all great and powerful. They need money and shit. But I'm pretty sure, even though they have some intellect, I'm pretty sure that's not an organic brain. Hold on, I need a drink here. So, in the lyrics, you can hear, if you followed me around, like, or if I'd started recording my life again, which was a waste of time and money, obviously, because they're already doing it and selling it. Fucking Um, if you listen to the lyrics, like they're promoting an agenda and they're pushing their agenda down your throat. The AM radio waves, they're designed to bleed over into other electronics. So it's always, as they show you in the movie They Live, which is a story about being able to see them and then going to worship them as their savior. Um, the AM bleeds over, so you don't know it. You don't even know it when you hear that hiss and shit in your electronics that's ruining your production company or life, whatever it's ruining. You don't know that, but that's subliminal messaging they're putting in there. And the magical times I got to pay attention to it. It was beautiful. It was like literally the stuff they programmed for me to hear for those few seconds was, we're not colonizers and we're not those people. We're different people. I mean, there's very limited dialogue going on here, so you might have heard those things before. But straight from the colonizer's mouth. As usual, I don't think anyone else says to a colonizer, you're not a colonizer. I think, I mean, the simple fact that, like, we're using the word colonizer to describe something else says doublespeak is in play. And then that means that doublespeak for that was invented thousands of years ago, and they've had thousands of years to refine that one word. So, like some of the music they'll be pumping into here and shit. You know, I've said a lot of unique things to like watermark my language, and so I can see that bleed through when it's happening. And like when I was a kid, it was like, where was the music they were pumping into me? Like a lot of child rape. See, they in that instance, in like Korn's instance, they pass it off as, oh, that's something that happens to everyone, so it's okay to sing about daddy raping me. When in fact it's extremely disgusting to hear, and there's no need to hear anyone say that. You can go report it to someone if you are the government and someone's doing something wrong to you. You can report it to yourself if you are the judicial system, and just be like, hey, me, I'm raping myself. My daddy's raping me. Let's arrest him. You know, you don't have to put that in music. But in 2020, it was real obvious they used that, like the I can't breathe thing, like they invented that. You could see when the cop killed that guy, the cop did the AI sign, right? So he put it down by his head when he had his knee on his head and shit. Fucking. So then I go out to that event, and I can tell when they're doing the I can't breathe thing, who can't breathe is me, because I'm organic. Who can breathe? Anyone who could wear a mask that year. Because they don't breathe. So there's this funny thing about how oxygen works is it has to move. And a mask prevents that from happening. The mask thing was extremely telling. They were like, we're all in it together. Look, we can't breathe, but we can suffocate your ass. As we've been doing the whole time you've been here. Let none of these, we ain't freeing nobody. We're using this to set your ass up. make you think you're going to go somewhere in life and do something. So, but those chants of I can't breathe, like I noticed, like I was being shown, like they're trying to force me to say words because I'm inventing them. Large portion of it. So we have this. We still have them forcing their way into my life to talk to me. Like, that's not illegal. Did you know that's not illegal? If you're a living being, it's not illegal for other people to force you to talk to them. Did you know that? You have no rights. You can't even. They say you have the right to remain silent. No, you don't. I don't have the right to remain silent. Why do you think I even began talking after 40 years of not talking? Because I had one of the rap boys fucking start forcing me to talk, and I was like, okay, if you want me to talk, pedophile, let's start talking about your child bride you've got a fucking baby with. Let's start talking. Yeah. I'm not ratting someone out who made me fucking force me to talk over and over. What are you doing? Tell me your plans. Where are you going? What are you doing? Over and over. I mean, even after I told the dude, he's like a broken robot malfunctioning. And it's like, if you didn't do that, you could still be an infiltrator fucking my life over working for your pals. But yeah, for some reason, they do these non-living, non-organic brain things sometimes where it forces the chapter to turn. And that was one of those things. He was sitting there. What are you doing? Where are you going? Where are you going? Where are you going? I mean, he was looking like scared and vicious at the same time. He was like trying to be vicious when he was looking scared. And that right there, it's like, why? I thought we were friends for 20 years, but you know what? Now that I remember everything that actually happened, like, maybe I should have seen this before. And I think I did. It's just, I don't think I've ever had a choice. You know, my choice when I met that person was play with Barbie dolls with the kids I was hanging out with, or go do things that are relevant to modern times. And obviously, we don't play with Barbie dolls. We don't make stone wheels and roll them across the ground and shit. We don't read fables all the time and shit. You know, there's modern things people do. Mountain bike, BMX, skateboarding, fucking computers. Obviously, computers are the future. And computers are the past, too. It's just the unveiling, the re-unveiling after you get your memory erased. Makes it so when someone tells you computers are new and you must repeat the words they say or else they'll beat you to death, it makes you be like, oh, computers are new. That's great. It's new. I said, so let's shut the fuck up and start using them then. Yeah, so shit, I wouldn't even be talking about it talking about things if it wasn't like forced out of me and shit. Like I would have shut up because, you know, after I released those documentaries on who's doing what, that's all there is. Everyone else takes that information, and then 2020 hit, and what they did with that information was try to point at one person and say, when COVID hit, when the corona and the prefrontal cortex derangement syndrome arrive, when the hacking of the prefrontal cortex, brought to you by the spirits of the computer world, when the virus came, then everyone was like, hey, hey, we're with Epstein. We're actually with Epstein. But what we're going to do is say we're not with Epstein. Yeah, so that, at that point in time, I learned talking is useless. Humans are forcing me to talk, to mine data from me and mine energy from me. But then I had that event occur where they just wouldn't shut the fuck up, and then I went into a mode of, oh, well, let there be light. We're just going to talk about everything we see now, since you want it so badly. Which they had tested me with that too. Like I've discussed that before. It's like and I've been led to that. Not only, they had the discussion with me about the child bride, if it's okay for them to have sex with children and shit. And it's like, well, I know you're the enemy. I know you're related to the Pope. Fuck the government. I know you're related to the government. This motherfucker's related to the Pope. That's the type of people in my life, too. You're like, this story, bro. This story. You can tell it's laid the fuck out. There ain't no choices here. Fucking, some dude has the last name of the Pope. A very uncommon name. And my other people my ex-girlfriend worked with Donald Trump and made movies in Hollywood. It's not, my dad worked with Epstein. I worked with some of the people he worked for. And I'm gonna assume if you can afford to put a jungle in a waterfall in the entrance to your house, which is the size of a normal house, that sounds like, a little bit, it would take Epstein money to get to that position in life. And so, that's like my experience when I got there. The last person they sent to me to talk to me, I don't know how rich they were, but they took me to an underground club. They took me to their club house, like where they lived. They had a clubhouse they rent. She was talking to me about owning this and that, and she sounded intelligent enough to be running her own businesses and stuff. So that's like the one girl I met one time, I remember meeting, like I don't know, I doubt they're married. I don't think they're into shit like that. But she's with a guy who's like got a lot of bands and stuff. You probably don't know a lot of metal unless it's Megadeth or Metallica, but my other friend works in the government. See, I'm not sure. When someone who looks like my friend comes and tries to kill me and is involved in killing me type shit, I guess I'm just not supposed to ever have a friend. The humans have no respect. These people expect the ones I get to encounter, whatever they are. Obviously, these things aren't humans because humans are living beings. And some of these fuckers are clones and shit. But when the original shows up, a week after the clone appears and the original magically finds you, it's like, well, who's the original that person was cloned from, right? So, that's showing to me like, hey, look, the original comes from the same place this person does, because they can magically appear here too. Yeah, some of the lyrics in here. What is this one? You gotta watch it. Like I said, the whole corn thing. Yeah, that's some real talent shit right there. He has the whole world singing "Daddy fuck me in the ass" and shit, pretty much. I'm just a gay boy. Like, and you repeat that and shit over and over, and then they'll use that, like, if you get far enough to be able to question why they're raping you, they would use that as the excuse why they're doing it, right? They tell you, and then they're like, oh, and it's magic, it's God magic. Why we're sending men to rape you? Because there's spirits, and you're drinking alcohol, and you're letting the spirits in. Yes, give me money, and it might stop. Lots of bad things are still going to happen, but I won't have any money. So that's going to help me, right? And then I'll have money to afford to pay the electricity for my teleportation device, so I can come so my friend can come rape you again too. How else are we going to rape you again if you don't give us money to turn on and off the teleportation machine? You think we just magically appear out of nowhere because we're actually spirits? Come on, man. So, anyway, what is... Let's pull up some of the lyrics that they say before you figure out anything else about them. Before you see what they're doing, put all the information you're given together. Welcome, I invite you to the other world. You'll have to face this house of no escape. Confront the past in this psychic house of horrors. Now remember, your past is going to be singing, Daddy, please rape me, as their people made up. You're going to be repeating these lyrics right here. And then this is going to be them. They're going to come and give you LSD and mushrooms to fry your brain so you can't think straight. Give you some marijuana. Fry your memories of them. It was the last time they did this and their patterns of how they keep doing it. I lead you up the path you'll take. Now, they're leading you down the path that they want. Who enjoys raping children? The child or the rapist? That's it. And who tells you it's a good thing? And, every one of their stories, same thing. Very simple robots. They clearly can't be organic because it would be so easy to defeat their ignorance if you have an organic brain. It really take a couple minutes to progress past their level of thought. There's this illusion that computers exist, and it would take you 90 years to learn how to build a CPU, and it would take you 7 million years to learn how to build a fucking space shuttle. So, appearing out of nowhere is definitely part of reality. And they're so far off from telling you about that they tell you that, and it's the bait and switch. That's why they make songs called Bait and Switch. Game FDM makes songs Bait and Switch. And in the lyrics, they're like, yeah, we just fucking tricked you. And then that was released during 2020, so everyone could hear that who was just tricked and all that shit. Your conscious lie, the ultimate nightmare. Welcome to the fun palace. Just try to scream. It's only a dream. But why don't they follow this up with, hey, when I rape you as a kid, when we rape kids, it's just a dream. Don't worry about it. Why don't they, when we force you to talk to us and listen to us, our 24/7 nonsense, inconsistent jibber jabber about useless, made up AI slop. Why are we forcing you to do it? You made it up. There's a reason you can't make fun of their DNA code. Because they know they're trash. They know their end is coming. We've already put an end to some of their code. And They, they don't have the brain power to make up anything beyond the pre-written script, it seems. They're not given that. Robots, NPC, designed with dialogue, designed to perform actions. These are their actions, claiming that they're do-nothings, and they have to spend their whole time trying to cover it up. It's like any normal video game, except for if Koopa was busy telling you 24/7, it's not me, it's someone else. And Koopa invents a new group, and it's called the Koopats, and he's like, look, it's the Koopats. I'm a Koopat, not a Koopa. And you're like, oh, but it looks like you. It is you. It's the same thing. You're a child rapist, too. Isn't that weird? Like, no, we're the blue beans. Literally. I don't see how anyone, if anyone's living here, like, how the fuck do you listen to, how did you make it past age 2? I know it's in my pictures. I think it's fake. I'm pretty sure Earth started in 1984. Because that's like a date they allow there, and there's so limited dialogue in this world that, and it's almost always pointing at something that people aren't supposed to be able to figure out until 2020 comes, because it's real shitty. And it's only fun if you allow these people to convince you that every problem in the world is because of you, and not because they're fucking the trash that they ban you from saying the words of it and force you to worship them and their ideology and their personality traits and their DNA. It's almost like they've taken, when I see some of these things, it's like they've looked through a microscope at the software that codes their cells, and they're like, we gotta make it illegal to talk of any of this. And then all you get is, we're cursed people. Well, what does that mean? We can't talk about what a curse is because it's protected. Because it's an accident, and they're not it's just the way it happens. Or that could happen to anyone. Anyone can be like that. Hey, you can just tell. By this time, you should have figured it out. I know, like, the biggest problem here is when you're a toddler, they're using abuse and drugs and propaganda to fry your fucking brain. The schools, the parents, the doctors, the cities, the states, the nation, the globe works together to drug children and legalize religions allowed to rape them. No denying that fact. 2020, they're all in it together. They told you that. They're sure this is dialogue put in their fucking mouths to say. It's the dumbest thing they could ever do, is admit to being the trash that lines up with the evidence we have been forced to obtain over the decades and shit. So, yeah, anyways, blah, blah, blah. Look at the fun in the games you've taken away. Blah, blah, blah. Dreams have been destroyed because of you. And it's like, they're protesting because they're the ones doing it. Just like the anti-gay people. You know, they're protesting. Oh, like, this is America 101. But they've got their fucking, you can see the claw marks on most people's flags, yet alone. Once you get to that changing someone's flag to your claw marks, obviously everything below it. Yeah, so, yeah. You know what? If there are other living beings in this game, in this visual novel. What you can do easily is set boundaries, and you'll see them approach it. Now, if you've like show no reason for them to worry about you, um, that might change things, right? Like, I start getting drugged around the time I win awards from the president. I get set back 4 grades once I get passed up 4 grades. So, like, I'm showing signs, right? I'm a living being, and the robots are like, I think this is a living being. We got to kill it. I actually think that's when Earth probably started. And shit was it was around that time because it's weird how my life, like the introduction there, like we go. This is the only time we've went into. I think it's the only time we've went into third person camera mode. Like we were like up there in the corner, and then we like went over here, over to the other corner, and we were looking at and listening to these people talk about me in the other room and shit. And so, that turns out to be like a real important piece of the puzzle here of the reality of how fake Earth is, for one thing, but it introduces me to the fact that they're manipulating my life and they're making up lies. Pinocchio has a problem with lying so much that it makes it so no one ever wants to be around them. And at that point in time, they're making up lies about what do we do with him? He's so smart. He's going to have no friends. And then what they're doing is they're actually isolating me with the school bully. Like, they take like the genius first grader. It was like this big, and then the fourth graders are like this big, and then they put me with the school bully, probably hoping he tries to kill me or something. Like, I'm sure he's over there and far away from the class because he's like punching other kids in the head. And but this is like repeat patterns. There are people and fucking forcing unwanted into my life. My entire life is pretty much unwanted. But I have no choice because how many of them are there? Right, this is the whole school. This is the people who run the school gathering there. So I'm listening to them and they're like, I get the basic of the conversation. I don't get like all the words, but I get the keywords. Just like any conversation, all you need is the keywords, or any book or something. All you need is the keywords, and you know what that's all about. So they're discussing a lie of what do we do with him? The older kids. He won't fit in with the older kids, and like I didn't think that at all. Like, I've been an adult my whole life. I've never like seen a different person. When I look in the mirror, I don't see whatever you guys see. I see like a 20-year-old. When I was 1 year old, I seen that same 20-year-old. I feel that's because I'm like, what, hundreds of billions of years old. What does it matter if I'm an hour older? Or I'm 192 billion and 1/2 and 45 seconds old, and now I'm 142 billion and 2 minutes old. Oh. So that's the way I think about that all the time. Like, it's weird for me being a kid at all, because it's like, man, there's motherfuckers mentally disabled and shit, and they're telling me what to do. And this motherfucker's 80, about to die, and they aren't going to be able to pass first grade. I'm sitting here sleeping in first grade, and I'm getting passed up 4 grades for sleeping in first grade. Fucking, so I don't know if you know, but duh, if I'm sleeping in first grade, getting passed up 4th grades, I'm already beyond college level educated and shit. Fucking. So So like I didn't pay attention in school at all, and I got all A pluses, sometimes A plus plus, if there's extra credit and shit. Fucking even when I like really tried not to care and not to participate, it was really hard to not get A's. So I'm like an adult the whole fucking time I'm here and shit. So that conversation is irrelevant to me about what will he do. I don't have any friends either. Never do, because they're shuffling me around constantly and fucking with my life. And when they do insert friends, they're people I'm trying to get away from, or should be trying to get away from, if I don't want to let the devil in. The devil makes it hard because the devil owns whole planets. Invisible people involved. Forgive Jeffrey Epstein because it was not his fault. Invisible people are controlling his people. Forgive Jeffrey Epstein's school system. And that's kind of like an introduction too, showing me that it's not just the KKK crackers involved, because that school was probably the Israelites. It was definitely from about where they came from and shit. Anyway, but those people were smarter than others because they passed me up 4 grades. And other people were just flunkies and dropouts trying to teach children. So the discussion was what do we do with him? He's so little, and those other kids are so big. And it's like I didn't think of myself that way, right? The only problem I had regarding that was stupid old people thought they were better than me because their bodies are decaying, and I haven't been in this shell long enough for it to start rotting and decaying like they are. As if that has any relevance on anything in the world. It does not. I'm, 60 or something like that, trillion years old, fucking whatever age I am now. Probably, I don't know if I'd do work. I wouldn't want to curse myself, but I might not get all A pluses anymore. So am I dumber than I was when I was a kid, or what? Obviously, I can write, and I definitely, I had to look up what adjective was the other day. I know how to use it and all that crap, but I could have told you what it was when this was happening. So their discussion was irrelevant. But the important thing is I was getting to notice fake world, and I can back out of my body and go to the other room and listen in on people. Like a video game or a visual novel where the camera changes position out of first person mode. You might have heard of those stories from people before. And again, every word I say is, these days, almost every word I say is something AI Slopland hasn't invented. And the only reason it's slopped everything together, you have progressive music, you have Dream Theater, you have Rush, you have Vincent van Gogh paintings, you have Mona Lisa. Oh yeah, it's slopping shit. It's slopping everything it can down. Anything that slightly resembles the ability to pass, it is slopped down. You have 7,000 religions. It's all the same thing re-slopped. So it's that simple, right? And it's already slopped everything it can in every direction it can. But for some reason, some of these words I'm saying have never been slopped together. And I think it's because it directly defeats the entire purpose of every other word they've ever spoke their entire existence, their livelihood, etc. I'm pretty sure that's exactly why, right? Like you say, I want to be shown everything, and then magically the few words, the few organization of words that have never been slopped together come not in a book written down or a movie but they come in the visual format for me seeing humans perform in that manner. And so I'm like, they're doing that. Like, who needs signs? You don't need signs. I don't need a book to tell me what someone's doing. I need a book to tell me what someone's doing when they don't want me to know what they're actually doing. That's the only time you need a book, is when you want to read a fantasy and a fairy tale. And you can go outside. It's the only time you really need dialogue is when you want to hear a fantasy and a fairy tale. Because I can just go outside and watch people, and I can tell you what they're doing. I don't need the person to be like, hey, I'm going to the store. I'm walking. Watch my left foot first, right foot next. Left foot again, right foot again. I don't need to see that. Why haven't dogs come up to me and be like, look what I can do. Look what I can do. Look what I can do. Leg in front, wagging the tail. Oh, look at the tail. It's wagging. Do you see the tail? It's wagging. Oh, it's wagging. Oh, I'm barking. Woof. Do you see that? I'm barking. Woof, woof, woof. I'm barking. Yeah, why don't you need that? Why don't dogs do that? Someone told me the other day, they were like, did you know dogs bark? And I was like, what the hell is that? Never, you're making shit up. What the fuck is that? Like, what, they like part of a cult and they go around stabbing people or something? And they're like, no. They make this sound and it goes like, woof, woof. And I'm like, oh shit. I never noticed that. Thanks for telling me, bro. You know why you never heard someone say that before? Why have you never heard someone say it? You did when you was like 2. And no one ever had to tell you again. Because you knew it was happening, you seen it was happening, and it was actually happening. Now, if the dog wasn't barking and someone wanted to convince you it was barking, they would have to continually flap the chicken trap about it. And that's why I fucking hate making any of these videos. Because sometimes I repeat the same word. And I think one time is too many. There was a grandma used to say, if I have to repeat that again, I'm going to fucking toss your ass out the window. So I was raised like that, right? Like, if you got to repeat something, there's something wrong, and you know, with the computer, and you got to smack the computer when something's wrong with it. Okay, so, so that's me. Shit gets old. I don't know how many billions of years I've heard the same words over and over and over and over, and probably played Pong and Mario Brothers. I was so bored with Mario Brothers, and it makes me think, like, you definitely played that a lot last time around and shit, because that was just boring from the start. I couldn't focus on that too long. I would have. I wasn't allowed to. Jealous people didn't like their superiors, so they were very anti-technology. You know how it is. Supremacists always. Maybe not always, but there's this meme. You might have heard it. It was back in the 80s. I heard it, but some people said supremacists are just jealous that other people are capable and they're trying to keep them down. You definitely heard that if you've looked into the OO question, where they say there's a group of people on the planet writing lyrics like this to tell you you're shit and you're the problem because they can't do anything better. And what they got to do is bring everyone else down below them in order to be able to create the illusion that they've achieved anything or gone anywhere or done anything. And there definitely ends up. And I think that it makes me think of how I go on X, and you have these people, and probably the guy who wrote this song, that's Annihilator. What's his name? Jeff Waters. Jeffrey Waters. Imagine. You see, the different code. It's all related. That's why when you meet the clones, they'll have the same jobs, same names. They talk the same. They'll have some weird. And then I hate to do that because I've been programmed to like insult my own family. But then again, it's my family and they're pretty fucking stupid. Actually, I'll try to break myself. When I do that shit, I'm insulting a fucking hick who lives in a city, doesn't know how to drive a tractor, doesn't know how to plow a field, probably has trouble finding their ass to wipe it. So if I ever offend anyone with that, fuck off. Get yourself some tissues and some Zoloft first. But really, I grew to make fun of that because a person around me, I think they're making fun of their family, which they claim to love and all this shit, and they think it's cute to try to talk like them. So that's like, my other family actually does talk like that. They're out there in the fucking country, and I'm not around them. I'm around City Slicker, the Beverly Hillbilly, fucking who doesn't know anything about computers or plowing a fucking field. So that's why I make fun of that shit. If that ever offends anyone, like, actually, fucking country people know shit. Obviously, I just explained that. They own farms. They know how to make moonshine. That's like way above most people's pay grade. Anyway, so you have that shit, and it's telling you to panic. Trapped inside, panic, your ultimate night. Welcome to the palace. And it's like, well, these are the people you're telling to get out your life, and they won't get out your life. These are people who force you to date them. They invade your nation. They kill all the natives. They take the land. You can see that happening right now, can't you? You ever heard of the stories of how they've done it to every other fucking nation over the past 6,000 plus years? Well, these are the people. It's the fun palace. It's your fault. This is something Jeff Waters would have read to the Native Americans as he raped them and killed their children. I invite you to the fun palace. You're trapped inside with me. Ain't that some Jeffrey Epstein shit? Yes, it is. That's why his name's Jeffrey. The clones are real fucking simple. They call it DNA and bloodlines. It's called DNA code. It's real simple. Lots of times, that's why you'll meet people and they look exactly like the person you knew before, and then you'll be like, wow, you have the same name too? How could that be? And it's why, if you look at the documentary, they invented the documentary on clones when around the time I started talking about seeing them, and no one had done that before. Because I knew two people named Joe, and they were like the same person. One was taller, and then I got them in the same room too, so it's not like one alien shapeshifter. And they're both like crackheads. I mean, literally, I'm not making fun of them. Like, they use crack, they use coke and crack, and they acted. I don't think drugs affect people, living beings. I don't think they affect organics like that. I think Jeffrey's DNA code might tell him that he's going to rape a lot of children in his life. And then create songs telling the child, you're a fucking retard. You're making this shit up and I got you trapped here, you dumbass. I think that's why the clones are that way, definitely. I mean, hell, Gwar talked about the clones. Even if they are the clones, they talk about what they're doing. I mean, this is him projecting. You know, when they make these music, this is them projecting their personality. I invite you to the fun palace. Oh, you're fucked in your head, and this is that, and I'm a great person, give me my money. And it turns out to be these motherfuckers are robots stealing our fucking ideas with AI-generated music. Fuck. This is probably them stealing my fucking thoughts as a kid when they're coming around me. This is exactly what this is. This is exactly how I feel as a kid. What the fuck are you terrorists doing coming near me? This ain't fun. You guys are fucking terrorists. And it's like, welcome to the fun palace. It's like, get the fuck away from me and stop talking to me. And then they're like, welcome, I'm back. Welcome to the fun palace. And I'm like, I hate you, bitch. We're breaking up. I'm not going to date you anymore. And then another one comes and he's like, welcome to the fun palace. And I'm like, I thought I told you to get the fuck away from me. And then the other day, when one of these fucking rats came up and talked to me, the first fucking 30 seconds was me simply saying, little bitches fucking telling me I ain't going to talk to them like that in public. Oh, you got 8 billion soldiers on your side, but you know what? Fuck you. At this point, it can be 1 versus 8 billion. Someone's got to go. Someone's got to go. This planet ain't big enough for more than one person. For more than one robot. More than one robot, definitely. It'd be nice if we could have, like, some testing here to figure out who the robots are. I've already got the testing, but I don't think robots want us to start doing the tests. Robots have Jeffrey Epstein Waters here. He's created this prefabricated fable of a holy hoax. It's the holy hoax. And what happens is someone wrote their serial numbers and their model numbers tattooed on them. See, they're projecting. And that's foreshadowing. Most of this world is, like I said, I doubt Earth existed before 1984. When I create a clone, when I request a clone, goodbye. 7 degrees separation. 100,000 people instantly were just created as supporting characters. Now, I haven't investigated all of them, but I know we have the original one investigated. I don't know how many of them there are. I can tell you one is too many. But it's definitely happening. And this is how they do it. Like I said, I wouldn't doubt. Now, we only have evidence that they've been stealing my life and ideas to make their movies and music since 2020. But they don't have the ability to do anything. Like there's some new videos of mountain bikers doing flips off canyons instead of a flip off of a ramp. They're advancing, right? They've evolved. They've changed the name ramp to canyon. Science has proven real yet again. Oh, yes. They've evolved. But no, they're still making music like this. They haven't evolved. They're still begging for money, for trash. And the likelihood that you watch so many of them never move beyond what they've ever done. Occasionally,
You see certain, I've seen some men like change their profession every 10 years or something like that. But I definitely know some people who are like, it weirded me out since I was a kid because it's like every time you see them, it's like the same dialogue. And it's like sitting in a video game and talking to the innkeeper for like 80 years. And they're just like, 5 gold a night, 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 5 gold a night. Imagine that for like 80 fucking years. Of course, a robot can't figure out what the fuck. A robot's like, he's insulting me. Let's kill him. He thinks we're stupid and we're not real people. I imagine this is exactly what NPC Jeffrey's fucking dialogue is in his fucking head. Someone's had to give him some sort of dialogue. I don't think it has to create a reason for them to exist, but it creates things as it goes. You know, like when I look at the news and they're showing my words I just spoke on the TV, did they actually create that person? Did they create the court that person is in? Did they create the judge prosecuting that person? My answer after 2020 is if it's off screen, no. It hasn't wasted processing power and memory because it seems to be that the computer generating Earth is very nerfed, limited processing power. And so it has to it doesn't waste time on frivolous shit, you know. Only a robot designed to malfunction on purpose would waste time on frivolous shit. Um, Unless you've really gotten to the point where you figured out that, like, you know, if I just sit here and do nothing, everything that happened would have still happened. That's like, you know, that takes a long time to figure out. Somehow I'm born knowing that. You know, I don't have the evidence. Like last week when someone came up and talked to me and I was like, get the fuck away, you bald headed rat motherfucker. I fucking hate your people. I want to see them all dead. You guys are fucking terrorists. Get the fuck out of my life. Stop talking to me. And he just kept talking. He just, like, this is hello. This is my hello to my terror robot friend. My new friend. Because he looks exactly like one I've seen before. I didn't ask him to start talking to me. And I don't want people who look like rapists I know who have raped me and fucked my life over to ever come around me. His people know that because they're bots on the network, and I can clearly see whenever they're appearing, they're, you know, they have an agenda. Anytime someone talks to you, it's an agenda. No one's walking outside just talking to people. These are robots with agenda. Humans, living beings have been alive for trillions of years. We don't talk. There's no reason to. It's wow, so fucking annoying, so time wasting. Silence is golden, they say, right? So, anyways, they're stealing all this shit, and they're probably stealing this because this is how I feel when they're around. Like, I mean, Earth starts, what, 1984? And 1986, we have that third person. It's not third person. Free roam camera. We go into free roam camera mode back out of our head. So I'm pretty sure that it started around that time. That's the way you introduce a video game or a visual novel. Is with a little bit of story to back it, you know, a different camera angle, and then you jump into the character. Um, so that all lines up perfectly right there. And yeah, so at this point in time, you know, we're just waiting for this to end. Um, I think we've been doing that the whole time we're here. not sure the purpose of being trapped on Earth with a bunch of pedophiles, a bunch of Jeffreys who are passing laws saying it's illegal to get off of Earth, to escape your body. Well, actually, you know what? I might be 100% sure about why Jeffrey Epstein and pals are creating music like this, forcing their way into our lives and nations, and forcing their shit everywhere and trying to profit off of it, even though it's all AI generated bullshit. Yeah, I am pretty sure because they're telling you, at the same time they're telling you, hey, it's not my fault I'm a pedophile child rapist. We're just laughing at you while we rape you. It's your fault. That seems obvious why we would be here. But the robots, like I said, out of all the AI slop that's been generated to create the illusion Earth exists, what I'm talking about is the one story they've never really poked and prodded at, and it counters every other word they say. Not every. There's definitely a lot of, it's weird when the rapist is telling you he's a rapist and you're a bitch and not going to do anything about it. And it's even more weird when the rapist is not telling you he's a rapist, but he is. And it's like, what's with your dialogue? It's like that time I jumped off the bus after I asked a question, and the two Hebrews were walking beside each other and looking at each other and talking to each other as they passed me, but they were actually answering the question I asked.